Welcome into a Wednesday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show. Full house inside of the UDL. Got the whole crew here. Lizzie behind the camera. Noah is here. Jack and Katie in on this Wednesday morning. We got the chef lined up. Jean Paul Bourgeois, an hour and a half from now, he'll stop in and catch us up on what's been happening with him. He's got a new partner in business that he's talking to and he's dealing with now. Duck Camp Dinners now on the Meat Eater YouTube station. He's also done some great traveling as he was over in Turkey for an extended amount of time. No, it's not.
I'll have to ask him.
Lloyd was worried about the chef when he took off, and then he saw his social media.
Didn't know.
Over there.
Kind of went. Yeah, no wonder.
Stay in the resort.
Swimming in natural springs.
You can drink that water.
It's unbelievable, man.
Jesus, I was way off. I mean, I still feel vindicated about it. I mean, when you think turkey, that's not what you think.
If I don't know, I think you're on the wrong side there, bro. Yeah, it's on the wrong side. You're on the wrong side.
Catholic school.
Right. Get inside of the bunker. A lot of questions from you today is what we're counting on here as we are introducing a brand new segment, Mail Time, and we'll do that at 8 a.m. this morning. And then, of course, your food questions for the chef. So if you have any questions, jump inside the bunker. Of course, you can hashtag them to kind of sell where you want them to go. If you want them for food, just hashtag Chef Paul or anything that goes with cooking. And then mail time, hashtag mail time for your mail questions to be answered here at 8 a.m. this morning. We always appreciate all of the interaction, all of the support. So make sure you like, share, comment, share the post, spread the post as we will be here up until 9 a.m. this morning. Big day for LSU football. As far as just a date on the calendar that you can mile mark and means that camp is close, is Ed Ogeron speaking to the local Rotary members down here in Baton Rouge as Coach Ogeron will do today at 11:30. He'll do that on the south side of Tiger Stadium. Always a full room full of a lot of business people from here to New Orleans to Lafayette. But it is the last time that you see the head coach in the press. The next time you hear from him, he will be talking about his team in training camp. So today really kind of marks the last day of the offseason for LSU football as they prepare for camp to start on Monday. I believe they report on Sunday and will be on the field on Monday to start fall drill. So we'll talk about some of the stuff that we anticipate here, and Katie and I are going to make it over there to the Rotary today and go check out what Coach has to say, some of the last words that he has to say about his team going into the offseason, or going into the season.
This is usually like a pretty relaxed atmosphere, right? Then this is where you get to be like kind of flex your muscles a little bit and kind of be, it's not as buttoned up as like a normal presser would be.
He's looking to make the room laugh more than he is looking to inform the room. He's looking to entertain, which he is fantastic at.
Very good.
This is usually one of the days that you really kind of see his joy, his personality of being the LSU head football coach. I mean, there's a limited number of band members there that kind of play the fight song to bring him up. He gives a lot of Go Tigers. He gives a lot of, he gives a lot of the South Louisiana flair that you're used to hearing from him.
You'd really have to step in it for it to go wrong.
Yes.
Like they're going there wanting to laugh. Like it's a great, it's a very comfortable environment to walk in where you're like, all right,
it'd be hard to screw it up.
Exactly.
It would be hard to screw it up.
So that would be the story if that happened.
Absolutely. I mean, you're everybody in the audience is purple and gold, bleeding purple and gold.
How could you mess that up?
I mean,
Not go.
Yeah, that's about it.
Make a turkey comment?
not go. I'm sure Les Miles was tiptoeing on saying some just stupid stuff year in,
Finger
year
in
out.
the ear the whole time.
Right. But it is very hard to, I mean, it's in the stadium. You know what I
It'd
mean?
be more comfortable.
I mean, come on, man. I mean, we're at my house. You know what I mean? It would be like, it's just a very comfortable environment. But like we said, it's the last time that you hear from Ed Ogeron, kind of in the off-season setting. But one thing that he does do routinely at this event is he gives you a very clear picture of his team. We've always
They're looking massive.
We've always said how open he is, how transparent he is. I mean, he was on his typical radio stop on Tuesday, and I think he let the cat out of the bag that they're having a junior day this weekend. In fact, I know some of the people in the recruiting department were like, Bro, I mean, we're trying to keep that under the wraps as much as possible, man.
So.
I mean, getting out on a Tuesday at 7:30 and letting everybody know wasn't the plan. But now, you kind of get that they're going to give one more foot on the gas here on recruiting right before the season starts this weekend. But I'd imagine that he'll probably dive into some of that stuff, some of the competition, obviously about the quarterback. We'll talk about what we anticipate coming up.
Did you see testing day in the weight room when they maxed out?
Yeah.
They were throwing up weight.
Yeah. A lot of enthusiasm coming out of the weight room this year. More than what we've seen in the past.
I feel like they didn't do that at all last year.
Yeah,
Really
I've never really seen that at all. I've seen it from individuals, not so much the team aspect of what we're seeing. This team seems very close. I saw that they stole a page from Will Wade a couple of weeks back and did the paintball thing, which Wade said was a great team building project because within that, you play team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of team principles that are built within that. And LSU football went to the same place and did the same thing, and
They were
from
kinda
all
ruthless.
return, yeah.
They're shooting each other way up close. I like how Will Wade's kind of meddling into the football program. Like, I feel like he's giving him ideas. We got Quincy Wiggins talking to Will Wade. Will Wade's passed down, hey, little team building at the paintball facility in a bad time.
Let me get Quincy.
Yeah, sure. Keeping himself busy.
That's right.
Coaching two teams.
Remember, every day here on the Jordy Culotta Show, we are brought to you by Go Chevrolet. GEAUX Chevrolet.com is where you find them online. Jack just got a new whip over there. And they can take care of you today. If you need a used car, stop and see them at Go Express Auto Sales or a brand new selection over there in Laplace at Go Express or at Go Chevrolet. Online at GEAUXChevrolet.com. Our coffee is provided by Majestic Brews down here in South Louisiana. It is locally brewed in Louisiana, and you can find out how you can get your own at DeliciousSips.com. We just changed out a new water. We got our new 5-gallon bucket in from True Blue Water. If you want to get on their rotation, find out how you can online at truebluewater.com. That is TRU bluewater.com, truebluewater.com. And then our phone line guest today, Chef Jean Paul Bourgeois, who will be here at 8:30 this morning, is compliments of Metropolitan Health Group.
And our snacks are compliments of
No
Go
more
Mart.
beef jerky.
No more beef jerky, Tom.
Yeah, but I don't think the beef jerky is what got me.
I don't think the beef jerky.
eat it?
No, I didn't eat that.
And that was
I didn't
our
eat that.
fault, not Tom's fault for leaving the bag
Yes.
But it
Left
didn't
the bag
happen,
open.
so no harm, no foul
Yeah,
there.
it was all good there.
Certain other establishment.
Yes.
Crisis averted.
Go Mart over in Natchez. Shout out to Tom and the crew over there. So a lot to get to here today as we are. Oh, you know what? And I want to tell you about our new gear, bro. The Louisiana Bad Boys print is now up and in the store over at Red Stick Sports. There is a limited amount of inventory right now at the first wave. If we can sell through the first wave of inventory, then we're going to order bulk. We're going to order more. If you like it out there and you see it, I got the dry fit on. I got a couple of the short sleeves here on the centerpiece. But it is a great logo, and it is representing the Louisiana Bad Boys. You know who it's referencing.
Will Wade get one?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
Great jogging shirt.
Will Wade will get
You weren't
one.
sure how to say
Adam
that,
Miller
right?
is going to get one.
Yes.
Will Wade get one?
Will Willie.
Will Willie.
Willie Wade?
Frank.
Yes, Frank. All right, so coming up today, we will your food questions 8:30, and then your mailbag questions coming up here at 8 o'clock this morning. Big offensive lineman set to commit later this week here in Baton Rouge. Emory Jones, who is over at Catholic High. This is a must get for Brad Davis, new offensive line coach, and the staff here. As we've talked about the uncertainty with LSU's offensive line, especially when you lose a figure like Dare Rosenthal so late in the process, like LSU did here in this offseason. These are the types of guys that you have to get. Bo Bordelon is down in New Orleans, which he looks fantastic. I mean, how much weight has Bordelon put on since he's committed? Will Campbell obviously is the number one left tackle in the country. Mm-hmm. He's up at Neville. He's committed. And now you're zeroing in on potentially the third of the top three offensive linemen in the state of Louisiana when you're talking about Emory Jones, Will Campbell, and Bo Bordelon. Jones would round out those three if you were able to put him into the boat on Friday. I believe this is a finalist between LSU, Florida State, Tennessee, and Arkansas or the 4 hats on the table. He is in Baton Rouge. He is at Catholic High School, which is in the heart of the capital city. Scott Woodward is a proud Catholic High alum. To me, I've seen the crystal ball selections on Emory Jones on Go247 and with Shay and Billy and Sonny and that crew. And this seems like it is pointing in the direction of LSU. This would be an enormous get for Peets, Mangus, Davis, the offensive staff, Ed Ogeron and crew, if they can go into the final recruiting weekend before they get on the field and see Emory Jones throw the LSU hat on. I anticipate he does that, so that should be some good news.
I guess he played basketball, too.
Yes.
Imagine that screen.
Well, I mean, that was the morning we were here when Shay was here and Mike Cassio, or Mark Cassio, the former Catholic High head basketball coach, was tuning in and he sent the video.
Sweet feet.
I mean, he looked like Big Baby.
Yes.
I mean, he was out on the perimeter handling the ball.
Whoa.
And like crosses over, goes behind his back, and plays with his back to the back. I mean, it is. I got it. We can.
Yeah, dude, email it to me.
I'm gonna send it to Jack, and Jack, you post it on
Instagram,
and on our social media. But I mean, like the first time, remember we showed it to Shay, and Shay was like, "Who is that?" I was like, "It's Emory Jones, bro." He's
Guy
like,
you're covering.
Get the bleep out of here! I'm like, "That's who it is."
The little, I don't know if everybody's gonna know this reference, but I hope so. Little N1 Cadillac days. Like, not that big, but same kind of vibes.
Yes, Escalade.
Yeah, Escalade, but Cadillac.
Yes.
Escalade.
Yeah, right.
Either way, rest in peace.
Smoke more weed, Lloyd.
Well, what if you're being hot sauce or
But yeah, it does have those type of vibes. Big baby. And I mean, just very light on his feet, playing very big and strong. But definitely shows you that. Is this it? No, that's not it. But it definitely shows you what type of offensive lineman he is. I mean, just with his feet, and it would be an enormous get for LSU, and I anticipate that probably happening.
If you're Brad Davis, is this like your first order of business when you got to campus?
Absolutely.
Was like the first phone call? Okay.
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, think about how Kim Mulkey, Jay Johnson, new people on campus, new people to their jobs, made a splash by bringing in Hannah Gusters. You know, Kim Mulkey brings in a 5-star power forward, a McDonald's All-American with her. And she's also bringing, other Moon Urson and other players. But, I mean, Jay Johnson gets here and he shows up with Jacob Berry. You know what I mean? If you're Brad Davis, you want to show up and have somebody that you can say, hey, look, I've had an instant impact on staff. And I think that they anticipate that happening beyond Jones. I think that Brad Davis is very impressive on the recruiting trail. I think that was a lot of the hire. That was a lot of the draw from LSU to Davis was very much upgrading the offensive line recruiting. I mean, there was just too many stories of James Craig swinging and missing on golden opportunities for guys to play. I mean, there was just too many offensive line recruits that came through here, looked high on LSU, had LSU on the top of the list, but when it came down to it, they were really never in it. And that has to change immediately. You can't ever go through another recruiting class where you sign one offensive lineman. Now I know they made a late push for the JUCO guy, the Samoan.
But that's not where you're really trying to operate.
Right.
I mean, I guess if you look at the coaching staff and what's been built, I mean, the strength of it is recruiting. So if you're James Craig and you're the one guy that's not pulling his weight, he had to look around and be.
Oh, he knew the writing was on the wall.
My days are numbered.
I think when there was the overhaul on the staff after the season, and he made it, I think he was like looking around the next day like,
me? I got the golden ticket.
Did somebody get my pink slip? I'm supposed to be here, right?
I'll be here tomorrow.
I don't think. I don't think that there is. I don't think that there was. There wasn't a surprise of him being let go within the building. I mean, I think a lot of people anticipated that he had just had an opportunity and he had swung and missed too many times. And Davis, in my opinion, is an instant upgrade, especially in recruiting. But when you look at his technical skills on the field, he comes with a very high reputation. I mean, he's been in the league for a while. So I think that Emory Jones is absolutely going to pledge to LSU later this week. Hunter Picard says last week Saw Walker, Howard, Will Campbell, and Emory Jones by Football Ops Building, laughing and all, passing a good time. LSU is getting Jones. I believe that. I think that that Jones will be in the purple and gold on Friday. Speaking of Walker Howard, before we dive into more LSU football talk and what we anticipate to hear from O today, speaking about his team, did anybody see the testing numbers that came out on Walker Howard yesterday? If you haven't, let us catch you up on the latest of LSU's 5-star commit at quarterback. And after seeing these numbers, he may be the number one player in the state. You know, I know that we're just kind of nitpicking when you're talking about Will Campbell, Jacoby Matthews, Walker Howard, and Quincy Wiggins, right? I mean, it seems like those are the 4 guys that are in the discussion.
That will play on Sundays
routinely when you're talking about the number one player. But I'm looking at what Walker Howard tested yesterday. And first off, St. Thomas More this year, they're not St. Thomas More of last year where, I mean, they've got all these dudes that are being recruited. But, I mean, they've got a really good roster, right? I mean, like, they are loaded when it comes down to just pure talent on a football team. Look at Walker Howard's numbers on and what he put down yesterday. Bring that graphic back up, Lloyd.
What's most impressive
if
to
you can? Mm-hmm. The most impressive part to me out of all these numbers, and I believe the shuttle number is 455, which Katie was asking what the shuttle is before we went on air this morning. And those of you don't know,
4155.
4155.
Right.
The shuttle is where you set the 2 cones 10 yards apart from one another. You start in the middle. You sprint to one side of the cone, touch the cone, sprint to the other cone, touch it, and then sprint through that starting cone. So that was at 4155, which was second best on his team. He then clocked a 40-yard dash that was second best on his team at 449, which is moving.
Who's beating him?
That is moving. And then to me, the most impressive number on this list, what was the bench press? 277?
273.
273.
Got to slap some 2.5s on there and get to 275 because
get to that 80, bro.
Yeah.
The most impressive number to me is his vertical leap. Is 39 inches, which is a great test of explosiveness, strength, and for him to be jumping 39 inches going into his senior season without the now I know that he's getting a lot of special attention. He's getting top weight program in the off season. He's probably got a nutritionist around him that makes sure he's eating right. I mean, he's very blessed when it comes to having a support team around him at very young. So I'd imagine that he's getting probably cutting-edge training already. It won't be that much different when he gets to LSU's campus. But I expect him to go through another strength and growth spurt, at 18 years old, 18 to 20 years old. And if these are the numbers that Walker Howard is putting down going into his senior season, I mean, I really can't wait to watch him play at the next level and to think about the athleticism and the strength that he already has is...
In 2019, his vertical was 31.
Those numbers, what?
In 2019, it was 31. His shuttle was 4.46. His 40 was 4.76, and he was 163 pounds.
I mean, but if you look at him, even compared to the football season, to some of the shots of him in like the cutoff drive fits and these.
Well, dude, just go to like when he went to his official visit and like what he looks like in the uniform.
He's definitely put on weight. He's put on strength. He's put on muscle. But to jump 39 inches at 17 years old with that type of explosiveness and that type of skill set to throw the football, I can't really imagine how good Walker Howard is going to be. I really can't.
I mean, his vertical shoot up that much.
That's
8 inches in 2 years. That's
crazy.
Unbelievable. If you want to fast forward and assume that he commits, that he stays with his commitment to LSU, if you're Nussmeier, do you already feel like you're the odd man out? And he was a freak.
Because
everybody's on the Walker Howard train.
If I'm speaking for myself, I probably would be, but I think that's what makes these guys great. Right? I mean, I think Garrett Nussmeier looks at the possibility of getting into a competition with Walker Howard's a pro. Like, you know
That's
what I
what it
mean?
feels like.
Like Walker Howard is a pro quarterback right now that we're watching just go through his
motions.
Yeah, just growing up in front of our eyes. And I think that doesn't surprise Garrett Nussmeier. I think Garrett Nussmeier understands that. He's tight enough, and knows the game well enough to see that Howard is probably a little more gifted than he is. But there's something about Nussmeier that I love. I can't really explain it. I think it is just his mentality. I think it's his fearless, just not scared of anything, not intimidated by anything that is put in front of him. Almost going. I feel like I fell in love with Nussmeier in his senior year of his playoffs, where he broke his hand and he stayed out there and was still making plays. And the way that he kind of spoke about the game, and the way that he spoke about the leadership of the game, he's one of those guys that he says all the right things. Like if you remember Brandon Harris in the media, Harris was really tough to dislike personally because he was very engaging
and thoughtful.
He was very well thought out. He was easy to like. He was easy to get along with. But then you turn on the film and you were like, man, you're frustrating to watch.
It's not his fault. That was not his fault.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
Man was gifted with the ability to throw football. We just didn't let him do it.
But Nussmeier is, he's got that quality to him where he's easy to like. He's very much, you're drawn into him because he's got a very easy personality. And he's pretty interesting in what he talks about. And then you turn on the film. I mean, he was impressive in the spring game.
You can't rattle him. He threw 3 picks and all right, let's go.
Exactly. Like that's his mentality. You know what I mean? And if you follow some of the social media, whether it's his teammates or it's his, you can see that the rest of the team likes him a lot. Like he's very well respected with his teammates in a short time that he's been on campus. And I think a lot of that respect comes from the way that he competes. Yeah. I think they see that he's not backing down from anything. He doesn't have expectation to play a couple of years from now. He's here to play. I think that a potential quarterback room of Garrett Nussmeier and Walker Howard down the line, that is, that's
strong.
That is very strong.
And you have Max Johnson for a year after, like you would imagine it goes into the year with Max Johnson, Walker Howard, and Garrett Nussmeier. And then Miles Brennan would be a senior, technically.
But when you look at the potential of what Walker Howard could be, right, you look on his junior film, which, by the way, that was the first year he was the starting quarterback at St. Thomas More. That's the first time he took down-out snaps since he was an 8th grader at the private school in Lafayette. What are you drunk over there?
Jesus. that was the mail time coming up.
Sabotaging us over there, bro.
I'm just checking the YouTube, make sure it's up.
That was his first year starting?
That was his first year starting.
That's weird.
Eli Holstein's brother is now at Louisiana Tech, was the starting quarterback for St. Thomas More before that. And look at the numbers that he put up in his first year. Look at the way he spends it as a junior, and then look at the way he's gotten stronger from junior to senior season, and the numbers he's testing with. I can't wait to watch Walker Howard play. I think it's scary to think about how good he's going to be when you just look down the line and see the skill set that he's playing. The best quarterback, in my opinion. I know this is in the moment, and this is hyperbole, and I hate to do it in our business because anything that you say is the best you've ever seen, usually tomorrow something will be a little bit better. But Louisiana has been barren of quarterbacks for a while, right? Like Ryan Perilou and Dak Prescott and all these guys, they've come through here, but not routinely. Walker Howard, to me, is the best quarterback I have ever covered. Like, since I've been in the media, I've been doing a radio and podcast deal for now over 10 years, about 12 years. He's the best I've ever seen. He's the best I've seen since I've been doing this.
Wow, that's strong.
What makes him stick out?
His
the way he throws it,
he's got a natural spin to it. His dad, Jamie Howard, which a lot of you know in the audience, was a starting quarterback for LSU for a couple of years, but he was drafted to play baseball by the Atlanta Braves out of high school. and went and did that for a couple of seasons and then came back to Baton Rouge as one of these older guys. He had kind of experienced, had a little change in his pocket, he had money, but he was a little older than the rest of the guys that he was around. They worked out a special deal between him and Atlanta for him to get to Baton Rouge and even to be able to play for LSU. To me, Walker has that same type of arm strength. I look at his athleticism, and I think it's undervalued. I think that you discount almost because you see him, the way that you see him throw it, you kind of discount how good of an athlete that he is. And those numbers highlight how big time of an athlete he is. To jump 39 inches and run 4.4 going into your senior season, I think we'll look back on a couple of seasons and be like, that cat was doing that going into his, when he was 17 years old.
Do you think this kind of puts him more on the national radar? It seems like we've known about him in Louisiana.
I think the Elite 11 did that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the last 3 days at the Elite, look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. I mean, day 4 of the Elite 11, he's in the top 8. The final 2 workouts, he puts himself into the top 3. And the people that were watching that workout say it was one of the most accurate throwing sessions they had ever seen in those workouts. I mean, think about the Elite 11 finalists that have come. Everybody from Mahomes to name a quarterback has come through that Elite 11 finals. And they talked of Walker Howard's performance in the final 2 workout sessions of something that has stuck out in that camp over the history of what they've been doing. It's just he continues to produce.
You're
he
just
continues to shine. He continues to take advantage of the moment. I mean, his state championship numbers, his numbers versus Catholic High last year, in big time games, he was playing at his best. And to see the testing numbers he's putting down going into his senior season. Brian Wadert says Walker Howard over Manning. At this point, I would take Walker Howard over Arch Manning.
Really?
Absolutely. Because you're not going to get them both on campus.
Yeah.
You're not going to get both those guys at the same university because Arch Manning, he's looking at it and he's going to, he's going to want he's not going to want the clearest path to play. I'm not saying that he's scared of competition, but you would look at Walker Howard and say he's got the quarterback spot solidified at LSU over the next couple of seasons, in my opinion. And if it comes down to Walker Howard and Arch Manning right now, and you've got to move on one, and you got to take one of those guys because you're not getting them both, I take Walker Howard.
How good St. Thomas More going to be with them? First game's Brother Martin, September 3rd.
Well, I mean, they've always been good. They've always been competitive. I mean, they're defending state champs. But they've got dudes year in, year out. I mean, he's not the only guy they got. You know, I mean, he's the best quarterback in the state, and he's one of the top in the country. But they got guys around him that can play. So, I mean, I anticipate them being, fantastic. They play U-High. They'll play in that U-High district. And U-High, defensively, may be the best defense in the state when you start talking about their play. The Alsbury brothers. I mean, Jaden Alsbury.
Talk about testing.
Verge Alsbury's son, the youngest one. And now both of them can play. Both of them have high Power 5 SEC offers. But the younger one, Jaden, is...
What grade's he in?
Going into 11th. He's Walker's age. No, he's a year younger than Walker.
Built like an 11th grader?
No, like a college athlete now. You mentioned Walker Howard or Arch Manning. If Arch Manning does, I don't think he tests the same way Walker Howard does. He's not jumping 39 inches. He's not running a 4.4.
No, but I've seen Arch Manning play basketball. He plays basketball for Newman, for Randy Livingston, and he's got the 6th guy on that team. And I mean, he can move. He's not clunky. He's not Peyton Manning out there. He doesn't look like he's just kind of hopping out. I mean, he moves well. He's very nimble. Because he's a big dude too. I mean, Arch Manning's he's big. But I think, look, when you're talking about these two guys, you're
splitting hairs.
Yeah, absolutely. You take one, I'll take the other, and I both feel like we can win. But when it comes down to it right now, and you got to have one of them, I think I'm taking Walker Howard over Arch Manning. And Jimmy James, I appreciate you pointing it out.
I just fact checked that. Jimmy James is right.
Yeah, he is. And now when he said that, I remember because they had a deal worked out, and I don't think that there's been one since. Before, I've never seen anything like this.
I've never seen anything like this.
Where Jamie Howard did come to LSU directly out of high school and continued to play minor league baseball with the Braves in the summer. So he was still.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. That's wild.
That is wild.
But just gives you an idea of the athletic lineage that he comes from, and I want to be very respectful here, and make sure that this is respectful. But Walker's mother, who has tragically passed away, and she fought cancer and succumbed to that a couple of years ago, which is a very sad story. And is something that will always be so very close to the Howard family. She was a premier athlete. I mean, people recognize Jamie in the city of Lafayette of being Jamie Howard, and he's one of the best athletes to come out of that community ever. But his wife and Walker's mother was as good and as an elite of an athlete and she was a swimmer, and they have daughters that are
shows a character
on the volleyball team at LSU.
I never knew that, and he doesn't have the me against the world kicking a can down the road attitude. That kid is like, even when we call we shout out Walker on our show, he's so kind about it.
Yeah.
Like,
no, he is.
To his head, no me against the world.
He's a great kid.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a great
him.
kid that's been through a lot, and he's seen a lot. I mean, his just his dad and what he accomplished, and what being a former quarterback of LSU in the state of Louisiana comes with a lot of
Pressure.
stuff. I mean, it comes with a lot of stuff to it, man. I mean, Tommy Hodson still to this day, he gives one interview a year. He gives Jacques an interview the week of Alabama, and he's done that the last 3 years. I guarantee you, I have called Tommy Hodson and asked him for an interview more than anybody in my career, and he won't do it. He doesn't want to talk about it. He doesn't want to revisit for whatever reason. And I've even hit him with the guilt of, man, that's so unfair to generations of LSU fans that want to hear from you and recognize you as the best quarterback in program history, barring Joe Burrow, outside of Burrow. And this is a lot pre-Burrow, right? And people close to him have told me, like, bro, leave him alone. Stop. Leave him alone. Just leave. Stop doing that, because he's never going to give in, and he just doesn't want to talk about it anymore. He doesn't want to go there. He doesn't want to be. I don't know what it is, but it's something that we can't understand, And Jamie Howard, not only was he an LSU quarterback, he probably went through the most traumatic experience as an LSU quarterback that you can. 8 o'clock.
I'm sabotaging the show.
Where was I? But Jamie Howard's traumatic experience. I mean, his junior year at Auburn. I mean, I don't know if y'all even know this.
No.
Noah, do you know this story? I mean, he threw 5 second half interceptions with LSU leading a game, and Auburn came back and lost. And Auburn came back and won the game. LSU was a devastating loss, and Jamie Howard came home back to Baton Rouge with like legitimate death threats, like notes on his car, voicemails on his answer machine, threatened to find him in public, and just, I mean, some of the lowest points of being a student athlete Jamie Howard has experienced. I mean, a local radio DJ who we know very well, Richard Condon.
I thought you described yourself first.
No. I mean, this back in the day, he was kind of the sports talk guy in the city. He threatened to kick Jamie Howard's ass on the air, and Jamie Howard went to the radio station.
Hell yes.
Went to the radio station, and Condon wouldn't come out. Yeah, I mean, and it was that type of feeling. It was those
My
type.
God.
And could you imagine the stress if your son was walking into that scenario, which at this point in Jamie's career, it was all high, just like it is for Walker, right? I mean, there was never a negative feel around.
Playing professional baseball,
He was
quarterback at LSU.
He was a quarterback at LSU. He was a major league draft pick. I mean, life was great, right? Until he goes into the Plains that Saturday, and I believe Lynn Amity was the offensive coordinator who has kind of skated through this whole thing, right? I mean, everybody points at Jamie, and people are over it now, and it's in the past. But during the moment, and even, I remember we had Jamie on the radio, probably 2014-ish, 2013-ish, to talk about the Auburn game, and he broke down and started crying on the air.
Damn.
Like it brought him back to that place, and he couldn't control it. And he wasn't sobbing and heavy, but you could hear the tears and the fighting that back, where I remember that hit me in the stomach and punched me in the face in the moment, just kind of being like, bro, this is way more than a game. This is way more than, you wanting LSU to beat Auburn. I mean, this cat went through some things that have affected him. I mean, Jamie's one of the most successful businessmen in Lafayette. I mean, he lives a great life. He has provided a great life for his family. And for him to be taken back to that place nearly 20 years after it had happened and still not be able to really even discuss it, to me would be very, as a parent, just a parent, would be nerve-wracking knowing that my son is signing up to go do that, no matter how good he is, how great he is, because Jamie was just like that. I mean, he was one of those legends from Lafayette that nobody would ever talk bad about or nobody would ever disrespect.
Challenge to a fight.
Absolutely. And that's what that position can bring out in people.
And it's not only that, it's being from Louisiana and playing for the flagship school, and you're doing that and you care so much, not only because you want to win, but because all of the pressure that comes with that spot, and they want it. Like it'd be easy for him to tell Walker, look, dude, go anywhere but LSU.
Yeah.
After what they did to me, why would you don't step into that?
Right.
But for him to Walker to want that pressure, be like, look, Dad, I know what happened, but that's the spot I want to be. I want to be like, I want to do what you did.
Right.
And quarterback at LSU might be one of the most scrutinized positions in all of sports.
Well, I think that you could probably argue that in a lot of college towns, like Tuscaloosa, it's probably the same way. In Gainesville, it's probably the same way. In College Station, it's probably the same way. I mean, in certain towns, in certain environments, a lot of them SEC communities, I mean, that's a very toxic spot. It can be a very poisonous position to be in.
You.
Absolutely. I mean...
and there's no middle ground. I mean, if you go back to the Anthony Jennings, Brandon Harris days, they're booing him when they're coming on the field.
Yeah.
Like, it's your own starting quarterback in Tiger Stadium, and they're booing him as he's walking on. It's like, why the hell would I want to be here? Like, I got no chance and it's 15 minutes left in the first quarter. It started the game yet. I feel like I'm under the gun.
And see, those, to me, that's why when I say Lynn Amity, he skated during that time. Curly Hallman should have been fired when they got off the bus that day. Really. I mean, somebody should have fired him in the moment right there before, he even had an opportunity to coach another game at LSU for putting Jamie in that position. Really and truly, I mean, there has to be some type of ownership and accountability from the coach's seat on something like that. The same thing with Brandon Harris and Anthony Jennings. They weren't so much booing those kids and student athletes, I say kids, but student athletes, as much as they were booing the head coach and saying, figure it out. You know what I mean? Quit walking these guys out there into a position where they're just set up to fail. And, I think that LSU now has the structure. Mm-hmm. I think if there's anything that Jamie Howard could probably look at with LSU and say, man, there is a sense of security there, is that DJ Mangus and Jake Peets and Kevin Falk and, those guys are very much more qualified than Lynn Amity was to be calling offenses at that level.
I mean, yeah, you could let me throw 3. Don't let me throw 5. Like, let's figure this.
Yeah.
I mean, let's
right.
figure this.
With the lead.
Off. Yeah.
With the lead.
I don't need to do
LSU
this anymore.
leading the game with 9 minutes left. They end up getting beaten by 2 touchdowns. I mean, it was it was almost an impossible way to lose a football game. Golly, I didn't mean to get lost. I didn't mean to get lost in a 1994 LSU Auburn game. And to come full circle, I mean, really to come full circle in that, 1 year later, in the offseason, they fire Curly Holman and they hire Jerry DiNardo, and his first order of business, kind of the rally the troops type moment for Jerry DiNardo, was bring back the magic. And bring back the magic was wearing the white uniforms at home. And
what
making,
year was this?
This is 95.
Okay.
94 is when he threw the 5 picks. In 95, they come back and they play Auburn in Tiger Stadium. Jerry DiNardo's first big game there. LSU wins the game 12-6. They intercept a pass in the south end zone to win the game, and they carry Jamie Howard off the field.
Wow.
In that moment.
Wow.
Right? Because Howard was he was the quarterback, and everybody had known, over the last 365 days, the guy had gone through the gates of hell. Mm-hmm. I mean, really, he had experienced stuff that probably to this day we still don't even know. I mean, we know some of the stories that, the voicemails and the showing up at restaurants and eating and people saying things across the restaurant to him while he's sitting there with his dad and mom and his family. Just terrible stuff, man. Just stuff that you cannot everybody wants to be an LSU quarterback when you're 12 to 13, 15 years old, but you don't think about that stuff. Mm-hmm. And neither did Jamie. But now that you have a kid going through it, he's chewing his nails off. Thinking about the 4 touchdown games that he could have against Auburn. He's thinking about the 3 pick game he could have against Alabama, and everybody had turn on him because he's seen it happen. Mm-hmm. And how can he? That's what I would be. That would keep me up at night if that was my kid.
Wow.
North end zone.
I need to put a phone call to Jimmy Burrow. Like, how did you handle this pressure? Because Jimmy semed very, he was collected in the stands.
Yeah, right. That's a different point of view. You forget, Jimmy, the first time Jimmy ever saw Joe play in person in college was his senior year. He was the defensive coordinator at Ohio University all the way up until then. He couldn't even he couldn't watch him play his entire junior season. I think he went to the Miami game, the opener, Joe's first start against Miami in Cowboy Stadium, and after that he didn't see him play until Georgia Southern. He didn't see him play until his opener of his senior season. Right. And he didn't miss a game. So different ride for old Jimmy.
Yeah. That's the other end of the spectrum. If you want to look, if it's going, this is a way to handle yourself in the stadium, because you're going to be on camera. They're going to find you if you go to the games. Shoot the horns down.
Absolutely. How many times will we see that now with Texas in the SEC?
Oh goodness!
All day, every day.
That gift just hit grease. Yeah. That thing is going to take off, man.
Well, and the Big 12 put out a ruling on it, and actually, well, that doesn't matter. The SEC is not going to do that.
Right. We encourage that over here. All right, we are brought to you daily by GoFlow IV and Spa. I'm heading over there right after the show and going to meet up with Brett and his crew over on Jefferson Highway, 7970 Jefferson Highway. Remember, we tell you about the membership plans. They got a 3-month, a 6-month. They have an annual membership available. Membership includes a free treatment of what they call the basics once per month. And the basics is rehydrate, health, immune boost, pain, nausea, relief, all of that through IV over at GoFlow IV and Spa. If you're looking for a boost, if you need some energy, if you're looking to sleep better, get over to GoFlow IV and Spa over on Jefferson Highway and let them help you out today. They're on Instagram. They're on Facebook. You can find them there very easy on social media. And stop in and see them. 7970 Jefferson Highway, right across from Mayberry Specialty Meats in the middle of the city. And stop in and check them out today. GoFlow IV and Spa on Instagram, on Facebook, and online at goflowiv.com. All right, as we said, today, once we go to after we go to GoFlow, Katie and I are going to link up and head up to
a little pep in your step
to the south end. So yeah, right. Get a little get shot up, and then head to the south end zone expansion for Coach Ed Ogeron greeting the room and speaking to the Baton Rouge Rotary. Always a great day in the capital city because it always signifies that football season is here. This will be the last time that the public hears from Ed Ogeron as the head coach in the offseason. This will be the last time that he's in a coat and tie. Everything else from here on out, he'll be in the gear. He'll be in LSU football apparel, have a whistle around his neck, and he'll be talking about his squad because camp will be beginning. As LSU reports later this weekend, they'll get all set up and fitted up for their gear, for their equipment, and then they'll get on the practice fields next week to begin camp as LSU is set to go. So it'll be interesting to hear what Coach O says. There'll be no tough questions. There'll be nothing that he'll be pressed on, but he will give a clear description of his team, and it'll be interesting to hear what he says about the offensive line and some of the shakeup that it's seen here in the offseason and what happens there. We've heard that Cam Wire is the guy. What's he liking as far as the depth goes? I've heard, even though they only signed one guy out of high school last year in that class, I've heard really good things about Garrett Dellinger, like that he is, from a left tackle or just a natural tackle standpoint, he very much fits and looks and feels like the part, which, it has been very critical, in my opinion, of LSU over the years, is that you draft a tackle, yet you make him a guard. You draft, or not draft, you recruit Ethan Posick, and, Posick's one of the top tackles in the country, and he ends up playing center at LSU. Go out and get some natural fits. Like Emory Jones is a script. He looks like the
prototype,
a sketch of a guard. I mean, he looks like somebody that you would pencil up, sketch to play the position. He will be a guard at LSU. Garrett Dellinger is somebody that looks the part of a tackle and has transitioned to the college first off season as somebody that is bought in and has gotten himself mentally and physically ready to play. Can he get on the field? Probably so, with the lack of numbers that LSU has going into the season. So it'll be interesting to hear what he says about guys like that. Garrett Dellinger. I told you guys before the show, Savion Jones is the name that everybody can't wait to tell you about at LSU. I mean, I just got a couple of people that we rely on up there and get some good information from, and everybody cannot wait to tell you that Savion Jones is going to be an absolute dog. Somebody that comes to LSU from St. James, a defensive end. Yeah, right. You know the area. You know the pedigree of the type of cats that are coming out of that part of the state. I mean, hungry, want success, have been felt like that the world has been keeping them down for their entire life and just needs a little crack to see the spotlight. And once they see it, they're going to shine. And it seems like Savion Jones is ready for the big time. And when I say that, everybody that I talk to says that getting into a college environment, getting into a structured environment where he knows what time he has to be at weights, he knows what time the nutrition center is feeding him 3 squares a day, he knows what time he's supposed to be in class, he knows what time he's supposed to be in the video room and watching film, and he's supposed to know, and he knows what time he's supposed to be on the practice field working on his skill. He's there every day, he's on time, and eating the 3 squares of nutrition a day from the nutrition center and working out with Tommy Moffitt has created a monster, has created an absolute monster. One of those guys that when he got to campus as a high school senior, going into his freshman season, looks totally different now. Looks like
Moffitt effect.
It's the Moffitt effect, and it's the LSU Nutrition Center effect. I mean, Will Wade was telling me how big of an advantage that has become to them in recruiting, not just being able to keep up with the schools that already have it, but the state-of-the-art technology that they have over there, and just kind of how big and they can serve anything. They can get you anything you need. If you want to put weight on a player, you can do that. If you want to take weight off of a player, they can help you in doing that. Just very informative and very helpful from a recruiting standpoint.
Can they get us set up on the TB12 method?
Probably. We can ask Chef Jean Paul.
Oh,
Bourgeois.
yes, that's what we got to do.
Yeah.
Do that or Lily.
Yeah, right. And Lily will have us 300 pounds.
Yes, that did a lot of butter.
Yes.
Not on the TB12.
So it'll be interesting to hear what he says about some of his team. I mean, just he's very transparent, and as we said, the room today is very inviting. It's very much pro LSU. I mean, it's in the stadium. And there's a version of the pep band there. There's a smaller. Is
it still that way after going 5-5? Because walking in after 15-0,
yes,
is a lot different.
Still in this room.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. This room will not allow.
Would let you in if you're going to be that way.
No, they'd snatch the mic from you. Now, I mean, I think they're okay. Coach, it'd be better than next year, right? Ha ha ha. But not like, what the hell went on against Mississippi State? You know what I mean? Like, how did Bo Pelini get the job? I'll hang up and listen.
Here's your interview.
Yeah, right. So remember, daily we are brought to you by Go Chevrolet, online at GEAUXchevrolet.com. Get in touch with Lee Carney and the crew. Also over at Red Stick Sports right now on the racks, they have the Louisiana Bad Boys t-shirts. You can also get them online at jordy.itemorder.com. Reserve yours today, as there is only limited amount of inventory available over at Red Stick Sports for the Louisiana Bad Boys t-shirts. Get yours today, and if we sell out of those, we'll order bulk. We'll get a ton of them and get you ready for basketball season. But that is online on the store right now, which you can find over at Red Stick Sports. You can walk in and see them on Essen Lane, or you can check us out online at jordy.itemorder.com. All right, your mail time questions next. And this is a new segment. We always appreciate everybody interacting with us, being here every day. And we encourage you to get questions in, whatever they may be, and you can get them in any form. Direct messages through Instagram. We had a couple come through our Instagram direct messaging. You can hit us on Facebook. You can hit us on Twitter. But right now we're monitoring the bunker right here on YouTube. Is anybody on Facebook watching the comments there? Maybe Noah, if you want to get there to make sure we're getting all of them.
The Facebook stream dropped. I'm wondering why. But that's what I was working on earlier. That's why I was checking my phone. But it just won't.
Please don't mention Facebook.
Yeah, so no Facebook. Don't worry about that.
The one day I mentioned it.
I know.
The one day.
Yeah, that's why I was. I had a feeling it was going to happen because of the mailbag, and the stream's not working.
That's karma over there, buddy.
Karma, I didn't do anything wrong.
I don't believe you. 8 o'clock hour coming up next. Mail time, new segment as we'll introduce it here. Your questions, we'll answer them coming up here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Driven and powered every single day by Go Chevrolet. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, Jordy at jordyculotta.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. Jordy at jordyculotta.com to learn more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022, 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in LaPlace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, Jordy at jordyculotta.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. Jordy at jordyculotta.com to learn more.
Christ, that right there is the mail. Now let's talk about the mail. Can we talk about the mail, please, Mac? I'm dying to talk about the mail with you all day, okay? I gotta go up to his office. I gotta put his mail in the guy's goddamn hands.
But they have been asking for their mail on a daily basis. It's all they're talking about up there.
Because the mail never stops. It just keeps coming and coming and coming. There's never a let-up. It's relentless. Every day it piles up more and more and more, and you gotta get it up. And the more you get out, the more it keeps coming in. And then the barcode reader breaks, and it's Publishers Clearinghouse.
All right.
I can't believe I'm gonna be a mailman.
Nice work there, Lizzie.
Yeah,
That wasn't bad.
Cute.
That was very good.
Any tune we can keep under this?
Yeah, I'm pulling that up too. I'll put it all together.
Oh.
Give
This kid a raise.
Look at this.
Easy over there.
It's the last thing I'm asking for.
Trying to get you that G-Wagon.
I'm just scared to ask for a day off.
Welcome in to the new segment here, Mail Time, as we are answering your mail questions. Remember, we're also taking your food questions for Chef Jean Paul Bourgeois coming up here at 8:30 this morning. A lot of cool stuff for the chef to talk about coming up here at 8:30 this morning. Remember, daily, we're brought to you by A-Bears Specialty Meats. A-Bears is located in Baton Rouge and in Prairieville. Stop and check them out, the Dutchtown Shopping Center, or in Baton Rouge, right here next to Pearson's Luggage. Lunch specials. I believe they've got a Culotta show special that they're going to start offering every day.
No way.
That's fun.
That's what we're going to come up
Hot
with.
dogs?
Got to be hot dogs, right? Got to be hot dogs.
I figured it might be a little Italian
Yeah, I thought it
theme,
was
something
gonna
with
be
like a little
meatballs.
red sauce,
Oh,
you
that's
know?
true.
Possibly. We're discussing it.
Meatball po' boy?
We're discussing today. Hang on, man. Okay, all right. A-Bear Specialty Meats.
We'll get that raised.
Baton Rouge, Prairieville. Lunch in Baton Rouge. Remember, get over there for lunch, man. This is a great option for you if you're moving around right in the heart of Baton Rouge on Jefferson Highway. Get in there and you can check out the lunch special. 2 chili dogs. They got seafood po' boys like catfish and shrimp, sausage po' boy daily, chicken salad sandwich is fantastic. Get that with a side of Zapp's chips, and then while you're waiting on lunch, shop the freezers. Take home a deboned stuffed chicken, some hamburgers, some steaks for the family to cook. Prairieville and Baton Rouge. Stop in and see them. A-Bear Specialty Meats. And we'll be catching you up on the tailgate package and the lunch special titled the Culotta Show special coming up here as soon as we're ready to start promoting that. All right, mail time. Questions here. Where are we starting, Lizzie?
Oh, I'm reading these?
Yeah, you read those.
All right, well, the first one I'll remember is somebody sent it in yesterday. I'm not sure who it was, but it was the most impressive or athlete that you've seen or performance you've seen.
Yeah, best or greatest.
Best or greatest. So I can lead it off if you want, because I was lucky enough to go to prom LeBron when he was with the Heat
Yes.
versus the
what?
Hornets in 2013. I got to meet the guy, shake his hand. Only
Who did you know
autograph.
that day?
Yeah, it was Stan Kaufman. Shout out. And now he works in New York. He's a big wig, big old suit up there. But he got us the ticket, so we went back. We went after the game and got to meet the big three. It was awesome.
Did you guys be in a banana boat?
Yes, I mean, I was right there. But LeBron went absolutely nuclear. Made 6 straight threes in the first half, scored, I think, 36 points on 13 of 20 shooting. And when he made his 6th 3 in a row, he turns to like the Pelicans crowd or the Hornets in crowd and just looks, and everybody just starts getting like, everybody stands up and it's an away crowd, and they're all just like, this is unbelievable. It was like Rucker Park. Like, it didn't matter who it was, like that it was the other team. It was just, everybody was in awe that he was just on fire.
This is Sanjay Garur, who was able to DM us through Instagram, who said, mail time question, who is the best or greatest athlete you've ever seen in person? Mine is Allen Iverson.
Wow, how did you
Wow.
see him?
Yeah, I saw him in Chicago. We went up to Chicago. I was in Chicago interviewing for a summer internship the summer of 2001. Summer of 2000 was interviewing for an internship in Chicago, and got there on a Wednesday. The interview was on Thursday, and we were leaving on a Saturday, and AI and the Sixers were in town playing the Bulls on a Friday night, and we walked up to the window at the United Center, bought 2 tickets, and walked in and watched Allen Iverson have the most impressive 30 points I had ever seen in a basketball game, just by the way that, because before the game, and this was the first time I'd ever realized how small Allen Iverson was. I had no idea in watching him play on television. I knew that he was smaller than everybody else, but I didn't know that he was like my size. I mean, I didn't know that he was like a 5'8", 175-pound athlete doing the things that he was doing around, like Shaquille O'Neal. And I mean, just these giants of dudes. And we walked down pregame and got, 2 feet from him when he was shooting around and kind of walking back. And I thought, good God, I can't believe how small he is. I can't believe, I mean, you could almost like put your hands on his shoulders. He's tiny. He's tiny. It is, you have to see to believe how small he is compared to everybody else. And then he goes out there. This was the year that he took the Sixers to the finals, so that they won game 1.
The Tyronn Lue game.
Yes, where he stepped over Tyronn Lue. And he had 30 points of just, it was like it was so easy for him. He had the ball on a yo-yo. He had the ball on a string. He was just getting into the paint whenever he wanted. He was making easy layups. And I mean, just think about how tough it is to get to the rim at the rec center. You know what I mean? and that's what I was thinking about when I was watching him. Like, we were in our pickup prime. I'm
5'10", 180,
at 21 years old, thinking about like how tough it is to compete just at the rec on a Sunday. And this cat's breaking down the Chicago Bulls like they're a rec team. And look, Chicago was terrible at the time. I mean, this was the Tim Floyd years for the Bulls. I mean, this was post MJ, post Pippen, post Phil Jackson. But still, these guys are pros. You know what I mean? Like, they're getting paid to play basketball at the elite level. And Allen Iverson at 5'8" was dancing and scoring and defending. And I just thought, I looked at my buddy and said, I think this is the best showcase of athletics I've ever seen. I mean, it's incredible of what he is accomplishing at this level and being so small. It was the first time that I was in awe by an, I was just like, this is unbelievable.
Well, because if you didn't know who he was and you saw it happen, you'd be like, you pick players out pregame, like, well, it's not going to be him. Like, he's not the one that I'm going to be, like, in awe of during the game. Because, like you said, when you look at him, he's all of maybe 6 feet and maybe 180 pounds. And
he's not 6 feet.
I don't think but I think that's what he's listed as.
Yeah,
like that,
but he's not.
Yes. I'm not shocked. He's like I'm saying, he's small, and for him to be the one to go out there and be like, oh my God, he's dropping 30 on you,
and just doing whatever he wants.
Yeah,
he's doing whatever he wants. I mean, he was the best athlete and the best player on the floor, and it was not even close. Like, he was lapping people out there. So, I mean, for me, it was Allen. I still remember walking out of that arena, what I felt. I was in a state of almost shock. What about you?
Cool.
Me or Katie?
You skipped me.
Katie. No, what about y'all? Go.
You didn't think I had one?
No, I got one. Was it Dak Prescott?
No. And I knew that y'all would think that it was. It is not. It's Tony Parker, actually.
Tony Parker.
And it was
I bet you very similar. Small.
It is very similar. When you were saying that, I was thinking of it was 2012 Hornets. Spurs in New Orleans, and I had floor seats, so I got to watch him like up close. And I mean,
floor seats for an NBA game is next level.
I was in awe,
So
and that was
cool,
Anthony Davis's like first
Rookie
game.
year.
Yeah, his rookie game.
Oh wow!
Oh wow!
And I mean, it was pretty amazing. And it was 99-95, and Tony Parker won it with a 3-pointer in like the last 46 seconds. And
Tony Parker in his prime, bro.
His footwork
floater,
and
bro.
like his spinning. I mean, he's small too. He's 6'2", I think. I mean, he's
ask
just
Eva Longoria.
amazing to watch.
his prime was unparalleled. He got out of there.
Yeah, he did.
I know. But it was very
Shame on him
cool.
for getting in.
Yeah, well, I would say that's how the world works sometimes.
Should have never
I
cut that
guess.
cake.
Yeah, no,
Should have never cut
the
that
cake.
cake. Should have cut
That's
that
the
cake.
problem.
Yeah, that's
but
right.
I'm sure he never thought that he would be that popular. He's like, oh my God, the Frenchman, I'm out here
The
now.
Spurs. Who thought?
Who
knew? What about you?
Mine's not them playing, but just the craziest day ever. Me being a sports fan, I was working a UConn women's game when I was there because I was the basketball equipment manager. And we had a meeting before the game. I was like, oh, this is weird. We never do it. It's just a basketball game. And our boss circles us up. And he's like, this is for you. There's a special guest in the crowd. It was Kobe and his daughter. You ever see that photo of them at the UConn game?
Yeah.
I was there that day. I was working that game. And I was this close to Kobe Bryant. And he's like, you better not say anything to him. Just let him enjoy the game. And I was like, hiding the face. And he was so nice that day. I got to meet Kobe Bryant. But the story gets even better that day. I go back to my dorm. I was working on a video. the post on Yukon Barstool when I was working that, and all my friends, like, they're going out. It was a Saturday night. I think they were going to casino, and we've been in trouble all year. We're on thin ice. Like, we're gonna get kicked out of our dorm if we get like in trouble one more time. My friend's trying to go to Italy in the summer. He's not gonna be able to go to that. And we hear bang, bang, bang. All right, open up. We're like, oh fuck, we're gonna get kicked out. Open up the door. It's like a 6'7" tall black guy in a beanie. I'm like, who the hell is this? He goes, all right, Ray Allen. Turns out I lived in Ray Allen's old dorm room. The day before, he got his number retired, and all Ray Allen's family comes into our messy dorm room, beer bottles everywhere.
Wow,
Jesus,
that's a great story, bro.
I got up and was like, I think I'm having a stroke.
Is he that big?
Massive.
Really? Wow, Ray Allen.
I had to go smoke a cigarette after, so I was like, what is going on?
He's from Philly. He was from Kobe's town. Him and Kobe used to go at each other in high school.
Wow. Dude, that's unbelievable.
That's a great story, bro.
I mean, had to think. I mean, especially with the RA, you're like, oh no.
I'm like, who is
Ray
this
Allen?
guy?
That's great. That's great. What about you, Noah?
Slide in that thing.
2014 December, me and my buddies went and saw Cavaliers Pelicans, and LeBron scored 41, and just like
Beasting on the Pelicans.
Coast to coast, like he grabbed the rebound and just blow by everybody. And so you see this big 6'8", 250 guy outrun all these little tiny guys you expect to be fast. And so it was just Pelicans still won. Tyreek Evans had 31.
Wow.
But yeah, LeBron James.
LeBron James is a freak, dude.
He's a
Seeing
freak.
it in person is
He's a
unbelievable.
freak.
But how do you move like that?
I was at that Steph Curry Pelicans game where he hit that shot in the corner.
Really?
And he high-fived his dad. You know what I mean? I thought that was the greatest shooting exhibition I've ever seen live. I mean, the greatest athlete. I've seen LeBron play live one time, and he didn't have the game. He didn't have the
moment. But
he did catch an outlet pass and get rim to rim in 3 dribbles. And I thought that's just you never really see that.
Yeah.
That's tough to find.
Next question up. Best NyQuil Dilwad in the chat. The best worst gift you've ever given to someone, Christmas, birthday, etc.
Got to be a book, right? I mean,
that's not even thoughtful.
Right, books are bad gifts. Aren't
I
they?
got the Gucci Mane autobiography once. I thought that was the greatest gift ever.
How old were you?
18.
Yesterday.
That's in the wheelhouse there.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, would that be right?
Socks. No. I lose socks.
I mean, I'm real bad about gifts. My mother, I should probably get her more stuff. I mean, I rely on my brother a lot to do that. Exactly. She says that, and I run with it. Yeah. My presence is the present, is what we like to say. But
it's a good gift.
I mean, she asked for an ice pick, which is not hard to get.
Yeah.
Like, you would think that we would have been able to do that.
Little Bed Bath & Beyond.
Yeah, well, Sean works in the restaurant industry. I was like, well, Sean, that's right in your wheelhouse. And then she was Mother's Day. Comes and goes, no ice pick.
God,
and I was like, Sean. And then he's like, it's on the Suez Canal. It got stuck on that boat. And I was like, you son of a bitch. No, it didn't. And she was like, you know what? I just screw it. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I hate you both.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's it. I can't do it. Can't do any gifts right.
You're a gift giver, though.
I am a gift giver, but I do have a bad one. I was trying to look at the name of the album, but I gave my 5th grade boyfriend a Cinderella tape. Cinderella the band.
No wonder you guys didn't work out.
Wow.
Tape. We didn't. We broke up shortly after.
Right there on the spot.
Right there, yeah.
It was bad.
Keep the cassette.
I don't know. It was embarrassing. It was super awkward. I still feel really awkward today about it.
That's what you bring up. If you want a really bad one.
Do you know him?
I mean, yeah,
like,
no, I haven't talked to
like
him in
social
years
media
and
knowing?
years. No.
She's so cut out. She's blocked on
You should send him a
everything.
DM. Just wanted you to know that I am sorry still about the Cinderella tape.
You still have it.
Yeah, right.
It's a banger.
I still feel awkward about it.
This is an elementary school story for my dad, but I think in like 2nd grade he gave his girlfriend his like medical ID bracelet.
Ooh.
And like as like a birthday present, like a dating present. And he turns around in class like the next day she's wearing it, picking her nose and eating her boogers. And he got up and walked straight to her. He goes, "Give me that back."
Stop, he did not.
He did, and that's if you've never met Tim, but that's Tim. He's like, "We're not dating anymore." What did I just see? Now, you're branded by me. Like, this is not good for the Tim Courtney brand. And he went back and took it off.
The worst I've ever heard was Vince Young was named Rookie of the Year with the Tennessee Titans, his first season in the NFL. And usually if that happens, he gets, they give a gift to, if it's a quarterback, they'll give a gift to the offensive lineman. If it's a wide receiver, they'll give a gift to the quarterback. If it's a defensive lineman, they'll give a gift to the defensive coordinator, whoever's kind of responsible for a lot of the success. And Kevin Mawai was telling us that Vince Young gave all of the offensive linemen a blown-up, signed autograph picture of his cover of Sports Illustrated being named Rookie of the Year. Like, they all showed up to practice, and in their locker was like a big cardboard cutout of Vince Young, and Kevin Mawai kept his for the longest time, and it says, "To Kev, thanks for the number 4, thanks for the blocks, VY."
Oh yeah, that's kind of cool.
And Kevin Mawai was like, "What do you want me to do with this, bro?"
It's in my house.
Yeah, right.
Another one that's coming in is, if you wake up with Jeff Bezos' bank account, what's the first thing you do?
Oh my God. I'm getting the hell out of Baton Rouge.
With Jeff
I'm
Bezos'
going
bank
to.
account?
I'm probably going to I'm probably going to the Amalfi Coast. I'm probably going to
Roosevelt
Portofino,
Pool?
Yeah.
Italy. No, no,
Orange Beach?
never. I mean, just Sicily, just somewhere where
You ever
Greece.
That island of Entourage when Vinny Chase is on the island after the bad.
Yeah.
Post Medellin?
Yeah, a little twofer.
Yeah, that'd be-
Little tutor.
Yeah, right. Yeah, a lot of partying. All right, where are we going next?
No, well, I didn't know if anybody else wanted to pop it on that
I think
one.
that's all our answer,
no. There's
really.
some in the doc.
Hold on. Oh, way too early. Well, I don't even know if it's way too early anymore, but you're over-under on LSU wins, and what number would it have to be that puts Coach O on the hot seat?
Let's see. I think 10 games, 10 wins, and everybody's safe. Right? I think 10 wins and everybody's safe. Here's my one caveat to success for Coach O's hot seat. I think that Coach O needs to win 10 games to be clear, but he also has to make sure nothing off the field flares up. Like, nothing from any of this Title IX stuff, anything that's happened off the field that could bring negative attention to LSU. I think that could play a part, and obviously will play a part, in the temperature of Orgeron's seat. Now, the over and under on wins. I mean, we can go down the list here. I've got them beating UCLA in the opener on September 4th. I've got them beating, obviously, McNeese on September 11th. I've got them beating Central Michigan on September 18th. And I've got them beating Mississippi State on September 25th. So they sweep through the month of September. And they're 4-0 going into an October, which is going to really that is going to be where LSU is LSU for real, or are they ranked 10th through 20? Yeah, that's when you're going to find out if they're a championship contending team or they're fake. And they go Auburn is at LSU on October 2nd. And that's gonna be a good game. I mean, that's gonna be a game that LSU is going to compete. It's gonna be a competitive game, man. I mean, you think that game's gonna be a blowout?
No, I don't think a blowout, but I don't.
I mean, think about that game last year.
Right, but they're coming in with a whole new staff. Bo Nix, who I'm not very sure is good or not. Like, he's shown flashes of the ability where he has, he has talent. But then they have a great running game. But they're coming with a whole new staff, new offense to have to learn. And it just kind of seems like Auburn doesn't really know where they are right now.
So I got them winning, Auburn, 5-0, first game in October. Here's the trap game that I think everybody's looking at. And this is the trip to Kentucky, to the Bluegrass State on October 9th. Where it's sandwiched in between Auburn and Florida. Florida's in town on the 16th. I've got LSU winning this game, but I definitely hesitate to put the W in bold next to that one. I mean, I think that is... When you look at the definition of a trap game,
Kentucky has a bye week the week before too.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
It all lines up.
It
so
does.
Badly.
It lines up perfectly for Kentucky. But when you look at the definition of a trap game, this is the vivid example of one. I mean, a big game for your opponent, not as big a game for LSU. You've got two big games that bookend this one. It's habitually a place that doesn't get a lot of interest or intrigue from recruits. You don't really think of it as a pure player in the Southeastern Conference. I think LSU is able to squeak it out because they're just man on man a little bit better than Kentucky. But it would not surprise me if over the week of LSU, if over the weeks of October 9th and October 16th, that they're going to lose one. They're going to lose one of those. They're either going to lose to Kentucky or they're going to lose to Florida. And I've got them beating Kentucky and I've got them losing to Florida at home.
Would you rather it the other way, just from?
Well, yes, you definitely. Well, it doesn't make it doesn't make any difference as far as what you need to stay alive in a championship run, because it doesn't affect you in an East or West. In the Western Division, it would be two Eastern. You could really lose both of them, and still stay alive for a Western Division crown to get to Atlanta, because that's the goal. At the end of the day, you just got to get to the SEC championship and give yourself a chance to get into the Final Four. But I think they lose one. I think they lose either at Kentucky or at home versus Florida. So in October, I've got them losing one game going into Ole Miss on October 23rd. I still think that they're better than Ole Miss. I do think that Ole Miss is going to be a pain in their ass as long as Lane Kiffin's there, because Lane Kiffin's got a little mental magic that he's able to sprinkle over Orgeron that keeps Orgeron very tight during that week, because I think O knows that he's always going to have a game plan, an offensive game plan that they're going to have to sweat. And
he's going to put up points every time. Every
he's
time
you
score,
play. And he's got the best quarterback in the league going into the season.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not he's being able to perform at that level by the time LSU season is yet to be seen. But going into the year, they've got the best quarterback in the league in Matt Corral. I think they beat Ole Miss in Oxford because I think they're just a little bit of a better team. I think they lose at Alabama on November 6th. I think they beat Arkansas on November 13th. I think they beat Louisiana Monroe. And then I think they lose to Texas A&M.
It's so hard.
I mean, I think this game has become
what they wanted it to be.
So close.
Do you like it in November?
In competition.
It's a good bookend.
Yeah.
It's a fun one to look forward to.
It's something to look forward to after Alabama.
Right.
The season used to end after that trip or after that game. And I think Texas A&M is, it's something to look forward to, especially now where they're at, where they are as far as the competitive balance in the league.
And you play them at the end of the year whenever they'll have their quarterback situation figured out.
Yeah,
that's probably their biggest question mark.
And Jimbo will have that figured out.
Right.
I mean,
the timing.
He will, by that point in the season, he will have somebody that is, that is definitely being able to manage the position. So that puts him at 9-3. That puts him at 9 wins, 3 losses. And I think that depending on the style of the losses, depending on what the visuals look like, I think 9-3, Orgeron's okay.
What if you go 9-4 and lose the last 2 games of the year? You lose to A&M and then you lose the bowl game.
Ouch.
That could turn the heat up. And again, it depends on how you lose. It depends on how you lose. I mean, competitive games down to the end, you lose on a field goal, you lose by a touchdown, you lose by a late score.
You got both quarterbacks going in and out, and it looks a little disheveled.
I think the visuals matter.
Yeah.
For Orgeron this year. I think that, whether or not it's organized, what it looks like going in and out. I mean, it's going to really. There's a lot of pressure on Orgeron this year. I think he knows that. He feels that. His staff feels that.
What if you go 9-4 and beat Bama?
Oh, then he's safe.
Just beat Bama.
Yeah, he's safe if you beat Bama. I mean, really. That win alone will save you.
Stupid.
What home game are you looking forward to the most?
The home game I'm looking forward to the most is Florida. Yeah.
Has that superseded the even Alabama at home?
Yes.
I feel like the LSU Florida game has kind of.
Yes.
It was that in the early to mid 2000s. It felt like that was the game that you wanted to go to because obviously Florida was what Alabama is now. Like they were a perennial power, went to multiple national championships. They had star power with Tim Tebow, Urban Meyer. So that was the game you circled every year. But now I feel like it's not because Florida's good. It's just because of the way that the rivalry is played out now and the intensity. Yes, like the how close the games have been.
Yeah, yeah, and that to me is what rivalry is. LSU and Alabama is no rival. I mean, they kicked your teeth in
you can
for a
save
decade.
Your job with a win.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it's not a rivalry. The LSU Florida game feels like a rival. There's hate there.
Yes.
I mean, there's absolute hate on both sides. I mean, the press from Florida hates the press from bad. Everybody hates it is a very contentious relationship. That's what you love in your rivals. I mean, listening to Billy Lucci yesterday talk about Texas.
Somebody in the comments yesterday was like, "Did his dog die this morning?" He's like, he sounded so sad. He was just like, I mean, Texas. You want to talk about Texas? They're getting Arch Manning. If you haven't heard,
right.
Just scorned lover.
So I got them at 9-3 in the regular season. They better win the bowl if they go 9-3 though, because 9-3 with a loss to Texas A&M and a loss in a bowl would be a long off season for Orgeron and his crew.
Wait, that's homecoming? Florida game?
Is it?
No. That seems weird.
No, they couldn't do that. I thought it'd be UL Monroe.
For the love of Christ, don't.
But that's the type of stuff you do to piss
your rival.
to piss off a rival.
Florida did it to LSU a couple of years ago. I think they did it. Yes. I mean, if you're Florida, LSU's chomped you out the stadium 2 years in a row.
It sucks.
One by the fans and one by the kicker.
Jeremy Fontana, one more question. He says, if O was to get fired, who would you go after? I would keep your eye on Billy Napier down in Lafayette. For some reason, Napier has not taken a job, and I think that is a little peculiar. You know, I mean, to turn down the jobs that he's turned down. Let's see, it would be South Carolina, it would be
Auburn.
Well, he was hired at Auburn on the contention that Auburn's brass was able to tell him who he could hire. So I understand him turning down that job. I mean, look, you wait so long to get an SEC job, you're not going to do it on somebody else's terms. Like, if you're going to give me the ability to do the job, then let me do the job. Because if I don't, you're going to fire me. And if I fire you with your staff, I'm going to kick myself because I may never get an opportunity again if it goes real bad. So Auburn, Mississippi State, he was in the running for, and a lot of people were high on him there.
Georgia and Tennessee wanted him as like an assistant.
Sure. Well, I mean, like, if you
he's
get him,
flirting with all of the SEC teams.
Yes,
they know who he is.
More importantly, all of the SEC teams are flirting with him. And for whatever reason, Billy Napier is still the coach at Louisiana Lafayette. And I'm not taking a shot at their program, but it's obvious the respect from the Power 5 schools are there, at the high-end Power 5 schools are there, and see what he is doing to get him down the line and even offer him a job at that level. And for him to decline a couple of opportunities at an SEC school, I'm not saying he knows something, but he might know something. And for him to just be hanging out, he's a really good coach. I mean, the Cajuns program, just look at the way they've operated over the last 3 years and the things that they've played for, and the style that they play and the way that they've recruited and the things that go into that program, everything that's in and around that program. It's very much Nick Saban, but Billy Napier was on Saban's staff for a long time. He was the associate head coach at Arizona State. He's got a great resume. Napier would be one of the top calls. I would call Lane Kiffin. That would be my personal choice. My number one coach, if Orgeron was in trouble, left, got fired, was moved on from, my first call would be to Kiffin. I don't know if Scott Woodward would jive with that, would vibe with that, but to me, I think he's so bright. He's a great recruiter. Offensively, you would always be you'd always have a quarterback. That's who I would call, but I would watch out for Napier.
Well, you talked about, I mean, some of the reason that Edo seems to be even rumored to be on the hot seat is some of his antics off the field. Is that not something you're concerned with Lane Kiffin? Because he brings a certain panache.
Not anymore.
You don't care about like the Twitter stuff or anything like that?
No, and if you pay attention to Kiffin, all that stuff has calmed down since he's back in the league. A lot of that stuff was to get him back to a big job, to get him back to a Ole Miss. I mean, there's a lot of rumors around Auburn that Kiffin was wanting the job there because he wanted to kick in the ass some of the Ole Miss boosters and money of, hey, you want to keep up and play alongside LSU, Alabama, Auburn's of the world, you better commit to it. And, he got him to jump. And the off-the-field stuff to me is it's in the past for Kiffin. I looking back on his personality, you know why he was doing it. He was doing it because he was trying to get at Urban Meyer while he was at Tennessee. He was trying to, kind of get after his ass a little bit and aggravate him a little bit because Urban was the king of the mountain at the time.
Trying to crash the party.
Yeah, absolutely. To what he was doing down in Boca Raton at that job in South Florida. I mean, he was just trying to bring attention to himself. He was trying to make sure that you knew and wouldn't forget about him. But now that he didn't have to do all that stuff. And he really does not do it anymore. You know what I mean? He's really not as much of a distraction on social media as he once was because he's making the money. He's at the program that he can win at. He can go recruit at a high level. And to me, he's great. I mean, he's fantastic.
They were 5-5 last year, Ole Miss.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
4-8 the year before that. 5-7 the year before.
Was last year? Last year was his first year, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. I'm just talking about their record. I just get confused about why we start off putting Ole Miss up so high.
Well, it's not Ole Miss.
Preseason.
It's not Ole Miss.
It is Ole Miss.
It's not Ole Miss.
It happens every year.
It's not Ole Miss.
I understand it's Lane Kiffin for you right now, but it's just going to be the same story this year too. They're the same team.
Hey, you and Billy Lucci need to grab a coffee.
You and Luch.
I just don't get it. I really don't.
No,
It's so
I hear you.
confusing. I don't even know why you wonder if you're going to lose
the hate and the
against
disdain.
Disdain.
In your voice.
It's just facts. I mean, they're Mississippi State. It's the same team. I mean,
no, I know.
Yes.
I hear you on the team.
Yes.
I'm not looking at his team. I'm looking at the way that his team plays. His roster was no good last year, and he had Alabama on the ropes. Mm-hmm. I mean, had them on the ropes, and all of that was his scheme. All of that was his ability to create mismatches and put Alabama's defense. He'll find the one fish. He'll find the one guy that does not deserve to be there, and he will pound him all night long. I mean, how many times have you done it to LSU?
Yes.
I mean, how many times has he done that to LSU? Think about that 2-minute drive with Blake Sims when Vidal Alexander got the 15-yarder and then Les threw that stupid-ass kick into the corner and gives Kiffin the ball at the 40, and the next thing you know, he's got a quarterback.
Running the option.
I mean, that is a running back.
LSU. Yeah.
A running back playing quarterback tying the game up. I mean, still to this day, that 2-point conversion play is the finest 2-point conversion I have ever seen. I mean,
other people are agreeing with me in the bunker.
Well,
Just saying, I'm going to come back and revisit this show midway through football season.
Mark the tape.
Mark the tape.
I'd like to mark
And another thing that you get with Lane Kiffin if he comes to LSU is his absolute almost disdain for Alabama too. So he steps in and understands that aspect of, I know you all want to kick Nick Saban's ass. I've been wanting to kick his ass ever since I left.
Right.
He understands that part of it. So another point in the win column for old Lane.
Daily, we were brought to you by AdvantaClean. Remember, online at AdvantaClean.com. You can find them at ADVANTAClean.com. Get in touch with Bradley Lynch and the crew over there as they can help you out with water, fire, and mold damage. Anything that you smell, you see around the office, around the house, get in touch with AdvantaClean. They can tighten you up. They work directly with the insurance company. They work directly with the contractors. AdvantaClean, online, ADVANTAClean.com. All right, Duck Camp Dinners is up and moving. It's on the Meat Eater YouTube station now. Our guy has made the switch. He is now a part of that crew. He's done some great travel. We will talk to the chef here, Jean Paul Bourgeois, next on the Jordy Culotta Show. Driven and powered daily by Go Chevrolet. Thank you to everybody for your interaction and all of your questions during the mail time segment. That was good stuff. We'll do that every Wednesday right here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Next, we'll talk to the chef, Jean Paul Bourgeois, stopping in here on this Wednesday. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, Jordy at jordyculotta.com to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. Jordy at jordyculotta.com to learn more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, as we're talking a lot about Coach Ed Ogeron. He will be at the Baton Rouge Rotary today, which means that football season is here. There'll be a lot to talk about over the next couple of days, but it is great to welcome back our guy, man. Man has been traveling the world. Social media has been on fire. He's got great news as far as his business goes, as he's got a brand new partner. There's a couple of new duck camp dinners that are out that are that I was watching that felt great to get caught back up on. They are now on the Meat Eaters YouTube station. And there is a ton to get to with our friend.
The man goes on vacation and gets a new job and
absolutely.
A pay raise. How do you explain that?
Nice.
The structure, bro. That's what we're all looking for in life. To be swimming in some turkey natural spring water and wake up to a business deal. Chef Jean Paul Bourgeois.
Right,
Hell yeah, bro.
Thanks, guys. It's great to be back in the great U.S. of A. Though I tell you that.
I bet.
But I appreciate all the congratulations and thank yous from all over the world. Actually, at this point, and although that deal happened while I was in Turkey, that's something that I've been working on for months now. And I was really hopeful to get it done before we went, so I can kind of use that vacation as kind of a congratulations to me kind of vacations. But it all worked out in the end, and just really happy that Duck Camp Dinners has a home on, really the leading brand and company and spokespeople on hunting and fishing, cooking, the great outdoors, and things of the natural world. So excited to be a part of it.
There are 3 new episodes of Duck Camp Dinners that you can find on the Meat Eater YouTube station. Chef, just for our audience and for those that are out there that may not have the background and the knowledge, because I just dove in to learning about Meat Eaters once I saw your partnership and relationship with them now from a business standpoint, and it makes too much sense that you guys are in business together. But just for the audience out there that may not have an idea of what the brand of Meat Eater is, could you explain it?
Yeah, so I mean, Steve Ranella was the founder of Meat Eater, and he's a Michigander, I believe is what they call folks from Michigan. And I believe that if I have my story right, he met his wife in New York City, and he lived in Brooklyn for a while. But what he would do he's always been a big outdoorsman, and he would travel the United States and go hunting, get out of the city, and come back and kind of cook in his apartment in different places. And that was probably 10, 12 years ago, and kind of got his start on Sportsman Channel and Outdoor Channel. And I think people were, in my opinion, what he kind of hit the nail on the head, if you will, because folks in the outdoor world and the hunting world were kind of tired of seeing these very programmed hunting and fishing shows where you always shot the biggest buck, or you always did this or always that, and everything went perfectly. And folks that hunt and fish know that seldom happens. Like, most of the time you go hunting and fishing, like, you know, things happen. It doesn't go your way. The weather sucks. The buck's not in rut. You don't even see birds or anything like that. And really, Steve did a great job of putting really a realistic view on hunting and fishing, but always based through this idea that he'd much rather hunt and fish his own game and provide his own meat to himself and his family than buy store bought. And folks really gravitated to that way of life, and really said finally there was a show that showed hunting in a very realistic way, and it wasn't just about trophy kills, right? So that's how as far as I've kind of understood his history and did my research, that's how he's got started. And he just grew that Meat Eater brand into something that people really crave. And now you see it, his shows on Netflix and the YouTube channel is just incredibly engaged and with engaged following. So, I mean, Netflix has, I think, 8 seasons of Meat Eater on there. They go from anywhere from 6 to 8 episodes each, I believe, something like in that range. And I don't think they have any plan of stopping.
How does this how does this change your structure or your production schedule? I mean, same order of business for you?
Well, yeah, it doesn't change much. I mean, so Meat Eater bought basically season 1 to better put on their YouTube, and as you know, season 1 was fully done. We had put it out on the Mossy Oak YouTube channel first, and that was a great partnership. But as it evolved, people really, and Duck Camp Dinners, that was the first show that they've ever put on their YouTube channel that wasn't made by them. So I find that just a really incredible compliment to not just myself, but the Split Read team and everybody who watched it. It really resonated with a lot of folks. And so, they took that on. It was basically fully flushed out with a couple of different edits for them. And then we contracted for season 2, and that's what we're working on, the kind of like the creation stage of it right now, and just gathering exactly what we want to do for it. In my world, not too much changes, if you will. It gives me the ability to really focus on season 2, because I don't have to go begging brands for money now, and that's a big help. I have to spend my time and energy doing that. And I'll also be contributing different wild game recipes to their channels, their podcasts, being on different shows with them. And so all good. It's all exciting. It's doing a lot of what I love to do, and that's creating recipes and cooking for people and finding different forms of mediums, whether it's podcast or video or pictures or something like that, series, to talk about food and connect people with different food histories and cultures from around the United States. And I think that's what I'm most excited about, is just to continue kind of opening up my insights and my expertise to people who haven't had maybe the exposure I've gotten to maybe travel the United States to see these different cultures and cook in that kind of through that prism. So just really nothing more changes except more of what I love to do.
Duck Camp Dinners is on the Meat Eater YouTube station that you can go to meateater.com. You can also still get all the information about Chef Jean Paul Bourgeois online at jeanpaulbourgeois.com, which is a great website that you can keep up with recipes. You can shop all of the merchandise. You can find out some of his great sponsors and friends that he's dealing with, like Spiceology and Yeti and Split Read, his production company. And I loved watching episode 1. It brought us back down home to South Louisiana, to Thibodaux. It takes you to a Rouse's down there on the bayou. It takes you to a meat market that was opened back in 1890 and your dad tells a story about he got fired from it for chopping up a butcher's knife in the. It's great down home, great down home stuff. What was it like getting back down home after everything that you've been through and everywhere that you've been over the last couple of months, Chef?
Well, it's been a whirlwind. So I spent 3 weeks in Turkey, and I flew immediately into Tampa, and I had a gig in Tampa, which was at the Open Season Outdoor Expo, basically doing wild game seminars. So I took 2 days to myself to kind of get back on, the Western schedule, time schedule, and got back into Tampa. And it's funny. Like, Turkey has an amazing food culture. I mean, one that dates back before Christ, 3,000 years, the Ottoman Empire, Byzantines, like the cradle of civilization, like shit was going down, Yeah. And I love that a lot of the food hasn't really changed since then. I mean, seriously, like the whole food culture of putting meat on a stick and grilling it over charcoal is, it dates back, again, just centuries and centuries and centuries. And we think of that as like, oh, it's like kebabs. And it's like, not just kebabs, you know what I mean? To them, it's literally how you look at history and so on. It's so robust and it's awesome. And it's great to learn about that. But dude, like sometimes you just like, can I get a cheeseburger, please? Is there some place that has like a quesadilla that I can, slice shop, like Googling slice shop, like, yeah, ham sandwich. I mean, the breakfast culture there is incredible. I mean, you might have seen some of the pictures on my social media. I'm talking like Turkish breakfast has maybe 5 different types. I mean, this is when guests come in town, they kind of roll out the full Turkish breakfast. But in a lot of ways, Turks eat in this way, maybe with a slimmed down portion on the table, but I mean, you're talking like 3 or 4 different cheeses, 3 or 4 different breads, 3 or 4 different fruits, tomatoes, cucumbers, chilies, yogurts, different spreads and jams, toast, and you kind of just
it's almost exhausting,
overwhelming.
It's incredible, and yes, it's overwhelming. But then like you eat that every day for 3 weeks, and you're like, man, like Waffle House pecan waffle would like really be a smoke show right now, like
smothered, scattered, and chunked, bro. Please, for God's sake.
Exactly. Like, is there some Tabasco and some ketchup I can smother over these potatoes? Like, I don't know. I mean, so like I'm just acceptable to that as well, being a chef. And again, like I love traveling. I love doing that, but I mean, the American in me just kind of like needs to cut through the fat, if you will, or maybe it's the other way around with some like food that feels familiar every now and then, but it felt good. And that was my very long-winded answer saying it felt good just to have something that I knew what it was going to taste like. You know what I mean? Like there's so much exploratory kind of foods in different parts of the world and country. And again, I love that. It's the last frontier for me. It's like the food that we eat, the food that I haven't tasted yet, but taste food that you haven't tasted. That's always going to be a surprise for 3 weeks in a row for almost every meal. And it's like, you start to really, really value the food that is going to be the same every time you eat it. Like your gumbos and jambalayas in South Louisiana, or your fricassees and sauce pecans, or your fried speckled trout and XYZ. Like those are the ones where I like, all right, I know exactly what I'm getting, exactly what it's going to taste like. And I'm really pumped about that.
What was the first thing you got? I mean, did you get a Whopper when you got off the plane?
Tony's Dart.
Steakhouse, didn't you? I think I saw that in Tampa.
Actually, on my way to, you're pretty close. Actually, on my way to, let's see, where were we? We went from just the short version of our itinerary is we flew into Istanbul and went through the Izmir. So basically Istanbul for like 5 days and then went down the coast. So Izmir, Bodrum, Fethiye, Kaş, and Antalya. And that's like traveling all the the western coast into the Mediterranean. Then once we got to Antalya, which is the largest like coastal town in Turkey, we went from Antalya to Cappadocia. All right, so Cappadocia has all these crazy formations and rock formations, and it's really cool. It's where you see all like the balloons flying and stuff like that. That's what they're famous for. But to get to Cappadocia, we had to go through Istanbul again. So, and that's cool. But when like it was a long travel day, and I was like, there was a Burger King right there, and I totally smoked a chicken sandwich from Burger King in the Istanbul airport. You know, it's just like
this is too good to be true.
I mean, I know the airport food's not going to be that good anyway, so at least like I know what I'm going to get out of this airport food, and it really like hit the spot. And it like kind of gave me that extra win for the next 7 days to really like get on exploratory traveling food again.
Can we swing back by the airport? I need to pick up a.
Did you go original 12 or did you get the new spicy chicken or what have you?
Okay, so none of that applies.
International
overseas.
rules.
Like it's different. It's
Totally
like different chicken sandwich because basically because turkey is a majority. Like 98%, I think I heard was the stat. Most folks are Muslim, and right, like so. Obviously, there's no pork anywhere, and that's good. There's not a lot of pork in Burger King anyway. But the food is also halal, so it has like the chicken that they serve, the chicken sandwiches are like halal chicken sandwiches, certified halal. So it's a different than what we have with the beef. The chicken and fast food and stuff like that is just different because, you know, it has to be certified in a different way. So I think I think they called it like a deluxe chicken sandwich. And it was nothing like, it really wasn't anything like I have had at Burger King before. And it's not like I eat at Burger King a lot, but from what I remember, but it just still had that same like flavor. Like McDonald's has that flavor of the French fries, you know what I mean? Like everything.
Something familiar.
Yeah. So the chicken itself like wasn't like, oh yeah, I remember that, but it just felt right, you know.
Close enough. Niquilis Dilwad asks inside of the Bunker app, ask Chef, I'm tired of eating backstrap poppers, fried backstrap. Any creative suggestions to change it up?
You know, I had this question a couple times during my seminars in Florida, and I like to approach backstrap like I'm going to approach a really nice steakhouse. So I like it to be just a straightforward seasoning, right, and grilled over charcoal, or maybe you put it in a cast iron pan and give it a lot of love with butter, garlic, and herbs, and so on. But really the key is backstrap, in my opinion, is to, of course, season it well, get some good grill marks or crust over that meat, and don't go anywhere over medium. Let it rest, slice it. And where I talk about like the steakhouse introduction to it, because it's such a pure meat and it's lean, and it really has some of the best flavor of venison, go ahead and just cook it very simply. But look at your steakhouse that you love to go to and think about those sides and sauces, and really try to amp up or diversify that cut with maybe a great roasted mushroom red wine sauce, or maybe it's a nice béarnaise sauce or some type of buttered crab that you can lace over the top of it and have a nice side with it. And I don't think, like in terms of recipe with backstraps, because it's so good, my personal opinion is keep it simple, cook it properly, and have really great sides and sauces to go with it.
Hashtag Ask Chef. You're putting together a charcuterie board. What's your top 3 cheeses?
Well, Kunik is one of my favorite cheeses, and you can't find it everywhere. It's spelled Kunik. It's a goat, sheep, and cow cheese. It's a very triple cream. It's one that you want to let really soften or get room temp before you serve it, because it gets really, it's like almost like has that texture of like softened ice cream. Really love that cheese. I like a good also like Bailey Hazen Blue, which is a California cheese, blue cheese. It's got a little spice to it. and but it's mild enough for like blue cheese, like to not be so strong in the blue cheese category. And then lastly, I would do like a nice aged cheddar. So basically my rule of thumb when it comes to cheese boards is to find really diversifying cheeses. So you have like in the Koenig, you have this soft and creamy and malty milk cheese. In the Bailey Hazen, you have this spicy, mild blue with a little spice, well, mild blue that's kind of American made. Koenig is also American. And then with a sharp cheddar, or any type of sharp, like aged crystallized cheese, then I have something like firm and tangy, and it's got those crystalline structures within it. But it also has a lot of character and nuttiness. And so you can get that out of a great Pecorino Romano or a Parmesan or a cheddar or aged Gouda or even aged provolones. And then obviously the world of cheeses is huge, spanning across the world. So, really when I'm putting together the cheese board, I'm looking for that no one cheese is the same as the other.
Chef Jean Paul Bourgeois joining us here on the Jordy Culotta Show. You can find him online at chefjeanpaulbourgeois.com, at jeanpaulbourgeois.com to keep up with everything. And as we told you, the Duck Camp Dinners is now on the Meat Eaters YouTube station that you can find there. Jimmy James asks, I have some frozen rabbits that were given to me. What do I need to do besides make stew?
Well, that's a great question. And the thing about rabbits is you have two very distinct parts of it. One we call the saddle, and I'm not sure what other people call it. Maybe you call it that, sir. But the saddle, and then you have the front and hind legs. The saddle, which would be known as the rib cage and the backbone with attached loin. And so, you take your front legs off, you take your back legs off, and you're essentially left with a saddle, two loins connected by a rib cage and a backbone. Classically, those can be roasted just like you would roast a nice piece of chicken or a chicken breast in the oven, kind of slow and low till it's not overdone. You can marinate it in buttermilk or something like that. I love marinating in buttermilk, even if I'm not frying it. You can roast things like that and give it like a bunch of herbs and so on, and get it to a nice, like medium, if you will, like to the point where it's still succulent. It's cooked all the way through white. Maybe has a little tiny bit of blush in the center of that loin. And that's an easy, simple, just roasted rabbit saddle. And then the legs, I still like to use in things like pasta. So you say stew, I think cook the same way, pull off the bone, and then fold that into something like a pasta. You can make terrines with it in terms of like charcuterie, so like a rabbit leg terrine. You could always fry it. You know what? Chicken fried rabbit. So really, you have a lot to do with a rabbit, and I wouldn't look at it as just one cut of meat. It's not like a primal piece of beef where it's just a brisket or it's just a roast. You're cooking that whole animal with a whole rabbit, and that's really those two parts, the saddle and the leg, and both can be treated differently. If you're going to cook them the same, it almost only makes sense to deep fry it or stew it because they're going to cook together, and you're going to end up technically overcooking the saddle until it starts to fall apart where it has the same type of texture as the back leg. But you'll notice if you do separate them out, the texture is much different, where the rabbit saddle will eat a lot like a chicken breast, and the rabbit legs will eat a lot like chicken legs, both white meats. And so I just think it's a matter of getting comfortable with cooking it in different ways and not being afraid to roast that. Give it a nice little simple, herbaceous, slightly acidic marinade on the saddle, roast in the oven with some butter in a cast iron pan. Don't overcook it, let it rest and season it, and then take those legs and do a whole different meal with it. Like I said, I love the pasta thing. That's something you can see throughout French, Spanish, and Italian cooking, and probably why we see even rabbit legs with buttered egg noodles for sauce pecans and stuff like that in Louisiana.
God, never thought about
The
rabbit
pasta.
like that. Yes.
The pasta,
well,
I'm
for
all
you,
in.
of course. Well, we saw Tom Brady at the ring ceremony, and we were just in awe of how this man continually looks better than he did when he was younger. So we might have got out over our skis and ordered the TB12 book, and we were going through it, and it's just a list of things you can't have. It's sugar, white flour, coffee, caffeine, white potatoes, pasta, dairy, all these other things. The list goes on for
tomatoes.
pages. Can't have a tomato.
I mean,
So I was just gonna ask you, what would be a deal breaker for you if you were to start a diet but you can't have this one thing?
A deal breaker, huh?
Really put you on the
Have you ever contemplated a diet?
I don't eat rice every day at all. I really don't, but it's probably out of the big, so it would probably, like cheese I can probably get away with. Bread I can get away with, just simple bread. Potatoes, no problem. Coffee I enjoy every day, but honestly, I could, give me a week of bad headaches and I'd probably be past that too. If it couldn't be, I'll put it this way. If there was one of those things like butter, eggs, cheese, or whatever bread that I couldn't not eat for the rest of my life because of some diet, what would hurt me the most is not being able to eat rice.
Wow.
And that's in basically just steamed rice because I'm a rice and gravy guy. That's what I was born on. You know what I mean? That's just nostalgic to me. That is that cuts deep into the soul of me. I once thought about even making a cookbook of just rice and gravy. But things like jambalaya, paellas, fried rice, all those different rice dishes, because rice is culture, and rice is seen throughout all of the world, whether you're talking about sushi, right? You're talking about paellas in Spain. You're talking about all the rice dishes of Louisiana. You're talking about risotto in Italy. You're talking about, rice is in every culture of the world, and it is used as a vehicle to serve people of underprivileged societies because it stretches out. That's why we created boudin, right? Boudin was, I don't have enough pork. I got these livers, but I can mix it with rice and stretch it if I put it in this casing. Wow. So I think some of the greatest foods in all the cultures around the world revolve around rice in some way. And I feel like I would miss that the most.
Just a little insight there of the education you can get while keeping up with duck camp dinners, because you do learn while you're watching it, and it's stuff like that. You don't realize the amount of cultures that rely and use rice. Last one for you, Chef. We'll get you out of here. Thanks for the extended time, and good hearing your voice back in the States after all the travel, and congratulations on all the success, man. And thank you for being here on this Wednesday. Last one, Grayson McMurray asks, ask the chef, favorite game meat.
Favorite game meat. Well, I haven't had them all. But if I'm going to talk about land animals, it's probably going to be elk. I've never shot an elk. I've never hunted elk, but I've had a lot of friends that do, and have blessed me with the ability to cook for them that elk, or just give them that to me as a gift or so on. And I really do love it as far as land animals go. I love elk, but I'm a waterfowl guy and a wing shooter at heart. And I would have to say speckled-bellied geese is probably my favorite piece of waterfowl, and probably my favorite game to eat, hunt, and cook. Because it has, and a lot of people would say sandhill cranes if they're wing shooters, because they call them the ribeye of the sky, and they got this beefiness to them. And I appreciate that and everything. There's something about waterfowl and speckled-bellied geese that really kind of connect with me from childhood. We didn't hunt speckled-bellied geese, but we ate a lot of waterfowl, and it still has some of that without being overbearing. It's such a good roasting goose as well, so it finds its way on tables for special occasions and holidays, which is I love about it. But so I'd have to say, all in all, speckled-bellied geese if I'm taking game as a whole. But if I had to break it up, specks for waterfowl and elk for land game.
South Louisiana's own and world-traveled Jean Paul Bourgeois, the chef, back home and back here on the Jordy Culotta Show, picking up every Wednesday before he took off on a great trip to what you just described, and you can keep up with on social media. Make sure that you follow him there.
I'm going to leave y'all with a cliffhanger for all you LSU fans. I'm in College Station right now. All right, College Station, Texas. There's a lot of folks up here nervous about Jimbo Fisher leaving leaving College Station at some point to go where. So I'm just going to leave y'all with that. Marinate on that.
I love say, hey, Chef, fuck with them real good and say, I was on a Baton Rouge local podcast this morning. They said there's a lot of smoke to that Jimbo rumor. Looks like he might be in Baton Rouge, man. Y'all are on to something. Great to hear from you, bro. Thank you for your time.
See you guys.
All
Have
right,
a
man.
nice morning.
See
Bye.
you. There is Jean Paul Bourgeois checking in this morning as think that would get him going. Not only is Texas joining the league, LSU's going to hire Jimbo. Somebody go get Lucci off the skyscraper. Everybody enjoy your Tuesday. Enjoy your Wednesday. We're going to go check out Ed Ogeron over at the Rotary Club today. He will be addressing LSU football and what they will look like here in 2021. We'll have a recap for you tomorrow morning. We'll also be over at GoFlow IV and Spa later this morning, getting our energy, getting our sleep right, as Lloyd and the crew are sweeping and vacuuming the UDL. Enjoy your Wednesday. Go Chevrolet powers us every day. If you need a used car model, get over to Go Express Auto Sales on Florida and Sherwood Forest. If you need a brand new car, go check them out in Laplace, Louisiana. They're all online. All the inventory is right there at Go Chevrolet, GEAUX Chevrolet.com. Jordy Culotta Show. Remember, Louisiana Bad Boys inventory is up over at Red Stick Sports, jordy.itemortar.com. Online, there is limited inventory right now, so get over there and secure yours for the season. Jordy Culotta Show. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning.